after one season at Michigan State women's tennis, Juliette Nask is transferring and has verbally committed to Iowa State in women's tennis for the fall of 2023. After finishing as the number 57 recruit in tennisrecruiting.net for the class of 2022, the former four-star who primarily played number 4/5 singles with an overall record of 14-9. So, what does this mean for both these teams? First of all, Iowa State needs players. Let's be clear. They only returned one player from last year out of 8. Yeah, you heard me correctly. And that was a historically great team for Iowa State. 7-2 in the Big 12. Number 3 in the Big 12 at that. Finished 3rd. They were 21-6 last year. And they were 1 point away from making a Final Four before falling to runner-up NC State. But I know that Iowa State did add another. Did add 2 players, and I'm going to go over both of those right now, real quick. Like back in just July 19th, apparently they added a 5-time Division II All-American in Isabella Dunlap. She played 3 years at Mustius MA under like their current coach at Central Oklahoma. She played the 2021-2022 season at the University of Indianapolis before sitting out the 2022-2023 season. So, and here's the deal. Division II level is not the same thing as Division I. As we all know in sports, it's quicker, it's more pace, more power, and the skill, type of players in terms of how good they are is a big difference. And they did add another that's Isabella Dunlap, and they did add a 5-star player at Iowa State, Caroline Nichols, but I will say she's only a freshman. The only player that come back for sure from last year's team is Anna Supapich Curum, Supapitch, and Kuearum. Yep, that's how it pronounces. She's like 5'3" from Thailand, but she played mostly at the four spot, like the projected lineup. She was like a 3/4 last year, and she was only a sophomore. She's about to be a junior this year. Everybody else they lost in Kristen Hisse and Nong. Sophia Cabezas left. Chika Kazuka, Mishka Kalova, Angie Obi Kajuru, and Dasaporn Naklo as well. Yeah, that's her real name, Dasaporn. Yeah, I know. It's a little different, but in terms of doubles as well, they lose every starter there too. So they're literally working from ground zero. And I'm just being brutally honest here and about this Michigan State player. Michigan State as a team last year went 9-14, 2-9 in the Big Ten. Yeah, and they lost in the Big Ten tournament first match 5-1 with a rare double clinch, I would say. Yeah, the player. And she was more like a 4 or 5, like I said. Juliette Nask. She was like 0-3 at number 3, 0-1 at number 2. But keep in mind, that was on a bad team. Really bad team. So she could easily move down in the lineup. Let's be clear. And in terms of like the roster, how many players do they lose now for Michigan State? They for sure lose one, but they could potentially lose three others. They for sure lose two players now because of this transfer, but they also could lose three other players as well, and because you do have that option of COVID years still for a few of these seniors from Michigan State. I'm gonna look and see how many of those true seniors are really contributors. Yeah, one of them's not really a contributor at all. So you don't have, for sure, even if they lose one of them, it's not going to hurt. Yeah, even the other seniors, so two of those three regular seniors are definitely non-impact. Even if they don't come back, it doesn't hurt in terms of projected lineup. Now, the other senior who could hurt for them, all the seniors were not really contributors, the regular ones. So they're basically walk-on types. Yeah, that's not lost. But they did lose one for sure. Yeah, they did lose like the number 6 player. She was like 9-15 last year. Then Nicole Conard, like, she was like a 0-1 at number 2, 2-1 at number 3, 0-3 at number 4, 1-2 at number 5, and 1-4 at number 6. And this now they for sure lose 2 starters in the singles lineup. And in terms of doubles, yeah, Juliette didn't even play. She did play doubles some at number 3, but not as much as a doubles pair with somebody else. They for sure lose the number 3 doubles, it seems like, no matter what. Here on projected. Yeah, they could very well lose the number 2 doubles as well, apparently. If that others, those 3 regular seniors, by the way, not the ones that I'm not sure they're going to come back. One of them plays more doubles only than anything. So that's just we'll have to wait and see type of situation. Yeah, they don't. So it's 2 and 3 doubles they're going to potentially lose, but that was off of a bad team. Can they get back to 500? I don't know if they're going to even think about that. Think about NCAA tournament here. And it'll be interesting down the line for them. And do they have any other recruits Michigan State does? They do have 2 recruits coming in. One of them's a 4-star, while the other one's like a 5-star. So they do add 2 players for sure in terms of scholarships. So assuming the seniors don't come back, they have 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. All right. Actually, 8 players. Yeah, 10 players. If they're gonna consider that. That's without those seniors, regular seniors, but they keep those seniors. Obviously, it's up to 13. But granted, some of them will walk-on types. And of course, Iowa State side of things, it's kind of tricky right now because I know they signed a player back in the spring. Her name was, when you go look at tennis recruiting.net, Alina Tsurpalevyych. I don't want to think about pronouncing that last name. But if I would have to give a guess, I would say Tsurpalevyk. Something like that. I apologize. But yeah, they for sure. Yeah, like I said, they added 2 players. One of them is another one is a freshman, and a Division II transfer, and now this transfer. They got up to 4 players potentially, and I'm not sure about Lena is going to really be there or not. But if she sticks around, that's up to. If they can't keep her for some reason because there's a coaching change and players could get out of their intents, it's 3 players, 3 or 4 players. And I'm sorry to say this, but Iowa State, you're going to take a step back anyway. Regardless, you just try to find yourself a way to get up to 6 players at this point. And I know in the past they only had 6 players. And I know they were really good this past year, but can they really replicate that with a new coach? And there's a lot of turnover roster-wise. I don't see it. I really don't see it for Iowa State this year. Will they make the NCAA tournament? I know they host ITA kickoff weekend, and they have a brand new coaching staff as well. Both head coach, associate head coach, and an assistant coach. You got a lot of roster turnover. It's only expected to have a step back after the magical year that they had. So, and it's not, and they're trying to build a new facility for 6 courts as well. I mean, in terms like, yeah, assistant coach, associate head coach, and head coach. And I know they're trying to build, like, get up to 6 courts, both indoor and outdoor. And I think it'll be really helpful, like, the new tennis facilities they're going to have. Like I said, like, they're going to try to, we'll purchase a 4, and instead of an existing 4-court indoor tennis bubble, and to construct 6 courts, and construct 6 outdoor courts as well on the property. So, and build it and team building to include amenities, including a team room, locker room, and training room. So, and it's expected to be complete in the fall of 2023, with the indoor expansion and the team facility slated for the 2024 competition. So it's good that they're updating the facilities and all. It's just, I don't know how much success they're going to have next year. Remember, it's a new staff. You have a lot of roster turnover, and you got yourself a good coach, and it seems like a good staff to me. You just gotta be patient, because it's going to take more than 1 year or even 2 years to get back to where you were this past year. It's the truth of the matter, and there's no COVID years left after next year. Remember, though technically you could go the Ivy League route and get a grad transfer for the following year. You could, but that's not really a COVID year, technically. We'll have to wait and see when the roster is released for both Iowa State and Michigan State on this, and how well they're going to do, and what they're going to do in terms of schedule here. But I'm just saying this as a forewarning to Iowa State fans out there. Don't expect Elite 8 run. I'm not even sure you're going to make the NCAA tournament here. I am not sure. Because Kansas is going to be tough. I think Baylor's going to be better this next year, and you're taking a step backwards. Texas is the favorite to win the Big 12, in my opinion, as well as Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma looks to be solid as well. UCF, a new addition. That's usually an NCAA tournament team, though. They could be in a transition mode. Houston, you shouldn't have to worry. BYU, you shouldn't have to worry. Cincinnati, not really. TCU, they return most of them. Maybe they're an NCAA tournament team. Maybe. But I'm not sure. And we're going to know these preseason rankings. And I would have to think Iowa State is going to be lower than they finished last year. I have to think so. I mean, look at all the players you lost. And the new head coach. And you might only have 6 players, which gives you next to nothing in terms of depth. Nothing in terms of depth. Because, injuries could still happen. And teams with 6 players are flirting with disaster. And I know they're hosting on kickoff weekend, but I don't think they're going to win it. But that's in my humble opinion. And when the other teams are like UCLA, Oklahoma State, and Old Dominion, that's tough. And like I said, Oklahoma State's going to be really good next year. One of the favorites to win the Big 12, in my opinion. Old Dominion has been always a good team. And UCLA is UCLA. I know they've been down in some recent years, but last few years. But I think they're going to be they could be better next year, but I'm not sure. So you get the point. It's going to be hard to replicate what you did this past year. And I know the year before you made the NCAA tournament and fell in a round of 64. And even the year before, in 2021, made it to the round of 32 as well. In 2020, when the COVID shutdown happened, you had a great start, but some of those, like 2022, the schedule didn't do him any favors. Not a lot of quality wins on there. They need to make sure the scheduling for Iowa State is a lot tougher than in the past years. Because you can have inflated, non-conference slate wins. Inflated record is better than it's really implicated. And I know Iowa State in 2019 was not that great that year, like 8th in the Big 12 or 9th in the Big 12, but yeah, they were 6-12, 2-7 in the Big 12, and obviously 2018 was, but that 2019 team was the first year head coach. Granted, it was their first year with a new head coach. In 2018 as well, they were 9-17, winless in the conference. In that 2018 year, 2017. 15-11, 1-8 in a conference. Yeah, not really that great. So as you could tell, they just were not really that great in the past until 2021 NCAA tournament round of 32, 2022 round of 64. This past year, Elite 8, they almost made it to the Final Four. So yeah, you could tell. And the conference as a whole for the Big 12 is one of the tougher ones. It's tougher than the Big 10. So, yeah, and there's always that. It's going to be interesting how that Michigan State player is going to deal with the Big 12 players. Because there is a difference between the big quality-wise, conference to conference sometimes. And you play the better, the best of the best more in the one conference than another. I'm just being honest about this. Anyways, if you like this content, hit like and subscribe and see you guys later. 5 subscribers, we're on the road to it. Let's go. And I apologize, this was a long video on this. I just wanted to break it down for both of these teams. And especially I know that Iowa State is dealing with a lot of turnover, and I just want to address they're going to take a step back regardless. It's a matter of how much of a step back you're going to take, and we're going to have to wait and see on the roster for Iowa State for here, because they need more than 4 players if they even have 4 players, or even if they have 3 players. You got to get up to 6, because if you don't, if you only have up to 4 players, like I said, you're going to automatically lose. All you have to do is just lose a doubles point, and you're down 2-0 because 3-0 because 2 courts you can't play. You don't have enough players, and you're down 3-0. You got to win all 4 of those courts. Impossible to win a dual match. And of course, obviously, with 3 players, you can't compete. But I'm sure they're going to get up to 6. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to find a way. Or even up to 7 or 8, if possible.